Hey guys, welcome back to mindsnap. Today's story had me absolutely speechless. Let's get into it. Someone posted online about a traumatic experience from their childhood that has left them with emotional scars that still linger to this day. The story begins with a shocking revelation. The writer was sexually abused by their older brother when they were just 8 or 9 years old. I'm talking about a prolonged period of abuse, not just some isolated incident. This is already hard to stomach, but it gets even worse. Okay, I need to pause here because the way this abuse was carried out is just disturbing. The brother would make the writer sit on his lap, kiss them, and cover their body with a blanket, all while their family members were around, completely oblivious to what was happening. The writer was paralyzed with fear, unable to move or scream for help. They felt hated and helpless, and this feeling of powerlessness has stuck with them to this day. No, wait, it gets even more horrific. The writer tried to gathering the courage to shout at their brother to leave them alone, but when they finally did, their family just thought the brother was playing with them and that they were overreacting. Can you imagine how invalidating that must have felt? The writer was already struggling to cope with the abuse, and then they're made to feel like they're the one who's crazy. I literally could not believe this, but the writer was so desperate to release their pain and anger that they started cutting their arm. The cuts weren't deep, but it was their way of trying to cope with the trauma they were experiencing. It's heartbreaking to think that someone so young had to resort to self-harm just to deal with the emotional pain they were in. As the writer got older, they started to threaten their brother, telling him that if he didn't stop the abuse, they would expose him to their family. And eventually, the brother did stop, but the damage had already been done. The writer was left with deep-seated fears and anxieties that they still struggle with to this day. The story takes a turn when the writer's parents separate and the older brother goes to live with their father. The writer is relieved to be away from their abuser, but the separation doesn't last forever. 5 years later, the brother comes back to live with them, and the writer is forced to confront their abuser all over again. The writer's feelings towards their brother are complex and conflicted. They're still afraid of him, and they can't accept his presence in their life. They feel nauseous when they have to talk to him, and they're constantly on edge, wondering if he's going to try something again. It's like they're walking on eggshells around him, never knowing what might trigger another episode of abuse. The writer's family doesn't seem to understand their feelings, either. Their mother gets angry with them for not treating the brother like they treat their other siblings. But how can they, when they're still struggling to come to terms with what happened? The writer is also worried about their younger brother, who seems to be just as uncomfortable around the older brother. They can't help but wonder if their brother abused their younger sibling, too. One incident that stands out is when the brother tried to joke with the writer and tickle them, but ended up touching their chest. The writer freaked out, screaming and pushing him away. But instead of their mother being supportive, she told them to speak to their brother respectfully. Can you imagine how invalidating that must have felt? The writer was already struggling to cope with their emotions, and then they're told to just get over it and be nice to their abuser. The writer is now 20 years old, but they're still struggling to come to terms with what happened. They're still afraid of their brother, and they still feel nauseous when he's around. They hate having him in the house, and they hate him for acting like nothing ever happened. It's like he's just erased the past and expects everyone to forget about it. I have to say, my heart goes out to this writer. Their story is a powerful reminder of the long-lasting effects of childhood trauma. It's not something that you can just get over or move on from. It takes time, patience, and support to heal, and even then, the scars can still linger. The writer's story also highlights the importance of believing survivors and supporting them through their healing process. It's not always easy to listen to their stories or to confront the trauma they've experienced, but it's necessary. We need to create a culture where survivors feel safe and supported, where they can share their stories without fear of judgment or rejection. So what do you guys think? Should the writer's family have done more to support them? Should they have believed them when they first told them about the abuse? Drop your verdict below. Was this person right or wrong? Subscribe and hit the bell